Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah, man, let's do this. I love when Bob does this to me.
And we're back. Between two Yetis, it's day 3 of the Miami boat show. This is the boat show, not the yacht show.
I don't even know what this is. I just wish that they had never moved this show here because the traffic is such a freaking nightmare. But
Do you not come by boat?
not all of us are as big time as y'all, I suppose.
Blimey. And I'm here today with Catboy, Wiley what?
Sharp.
Wiley Sharp.
Yep.
That's a freaking cool name.
Thanks, man.
People keep saying I've got a cool name, The Savage, but Wiley Sharp sounds...
Savage is a pretty cool name. But
Wiley Sharp. Is there like a...
No, I was born to be a yacht broker, I think. Yeah, I mean that's such a
just born to be that.
Just like my parents didn't know, I suppose, but I guess that's a great name for this.
So you're, the reason the name's Catboy is because
I have 4 pet cats, and all I deal with are catamarans and sell catamarans. I've been doing this about 8 years now, and about 2.5 years ago, I realized that I really don't like motor yachts, really don't like trawlers, really don't like monohulls. So I just told Bob Dennison one day, like, I'm only going to do catamarans because that's what I love. And 2 years down the road, it's been awesome.
I tell you what, that's quite different from most.
Oh yeah, I tell that to all of my colleagues, friends, industry people. I'm like, best thing you could ever do is just focus on the one thing in this industry you love and just do that. But most brokers, it's a little scary taking that kind of jump.
But it is, because you're narrowing so much, but by narrowing, you're being really laser focused on
exactly.
one thing.
I can't know everything about every motor yacht built or every express boat built or every blah 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 blah. But with catamarans, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not that large of a number, so it's pretty easy to have that laser focus and just know the boats that well.
Actually, it's also a little, somebody goes, I want to buy a catamaran. I know a guy for you.
And that works out really well for me. I get tons of referrals.
Awesome. Yeah.
I mean, from people that don't know anything about it, they're like, oh, let me just give you my buddy's number, and yeah. So
anything you need to know, he's your guy.
Yeah, exactly.
So what is it about cats then?
I grew up sailing. I love sailing, and about 15 years ago, I went sailing on a catamaran for the first time, and it was just awesome. And I'm like, why would you? I mean, I know we're at the Benetton display. I probably shouldn't be talking negatively about monohulls, but why?
You're not talking negatively, are you? Or are you about to?
Well, why would you want to live at an angle like this? When you can set your beer down and it's not going to roll off the table. You can have an open bridge deck. Salon and blah 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 blah, and it was kind of life changing for me. And after a couple years after that, I'd been sailing catamarans quite a bit, and I had the opportunity to do my first Atlantic crossing, and it was on a catamaran. And by the time I got, that was on a 46-foot Leopard from South Africa to the British Virgin Islands.
Freaking hell!
And after that, I was just like, man, this is the only way to sail. And pretty hooked.
So it is a more stable ride.
Much more stable. I mean, I was kind of laughing. Seakeeper, they were doing their display where everybody gets on the center console, rocks it, flips the switch on, the boat stops moving, and all I was just thinking is if you just bought a catamaran instead of a center console, you wouldn't even need a Seakeeper because they are that much more stable. Underway, it is a little bit different motion than what you get in a monohull. So there is still movement. It's just a different kind of movement. But when you're also not at anchor, when you're at anchor, you just sit there. I mean, I'll watch boats in an anchorage where the monohulls are going like this. You can see the anchor lights at night going, like that, and you can tell a catamaran because it's, barely moving at all. So.
And so you're a prolific YouTuber.
Yes, yeah, I do a lot of YouTube.
And so your audience are cat people.
All catamaran people. So my channel is completely catamaran centric.
But do you do a lot of clickbait where you put little kids in it?
Yeah, no, I usually get women in bikinis on boats to for the thumbnail. No. No, yeah.
A cat on a cat?
Yeah, that sounds horrible. I'm not a cat person, I'm a dog person, but
really?
Yeah.
Why are they called cats then? Why are they called catamarans?
I don't know. That's a pretty good question. I feel like I should know
Yeah, you should.
I should know the answer to that. We'll just blame it on the French. I don't know.
It might be a French.
It's got to be a French thing. I have no clue.
I'm really gonna start showing up now. When was the first catamaran made?
You know, I don't know the answer. No, actually, catamarans.
Vikings or something like that?
No, it was in the South Pacific in what's now French Polynesia and the Society Islands and all of that. They use catamarans a lot.
Is that when you're fishing? So then it's better for balance, maybe.
I don't know why in the South Pacific they went with that hull design. Why they went with catamarans?
I'm about to give you the idea of the century.
Yeah, like
History of catamarans.
Yeah, no, I know.
By Wiley.
I'm like embarrassed. I don't know this already. Like I'm clearly not an expert because I don't know anything about the history of catamarans other than.
We'll have to do another interview in 3 months' time.
Yeah. When I've actually gone on Wikipedia and like learned all the answers and everything.
So what cat owners, are they typically? Because my dad always wanted a cat because it was large, but he didn't need as big a space. And so one customer we had years ago, he bought a catamaran specifically because over a certain size length, he couldn't get closer to the mooring spots in certain areas.
Okay, yeah.
And so he kept it, I think it was under 60 foot, but a cat, so he had double more volume.
Right.
Of like 100, I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, if you get on a catamaran, it usually has, 1.25 to 1.5 times the space of a similar in length overall monohull. So you do have quite a bit more space there. But catamaran buyers in general, I mean, they kind of look at on average, they're not like a monohull boat buyer where somebody that wants to buy one of these Beneteaus here, they want to go, day sailing, weekend sailing. They're not always about doing like the long-term cruise. It's, a weekend activity, afternoon activity, that sort of thing. When people buy a catamaran, it's because they've most buyers, I should say, not all, they have this kind of like game plan in mind, like, okay, we're going to take 3 years and go to the Caribbean and for 3 years explore the entire Caribbean, or we're going to do this big trip. What is the best tool for that job? And in their research, they mostly find that the catamaran is the best tool for that job. And so the average catamaran buyer is not necessarily like a hardcore sailor or a serious sailor, more somebody that's just kind of concerned with doing a really cool, fun, awesome trip with their family or as part of their retirement. And then it's all about just finding like that right tool for the job.
Is it less sailing?
They sail much better than a monohull, although they might not point as well to windward, but I mean, nobody cruising goes to windward anyways. If you're going upwind, you just fire up the Iron Jenny and go, and any monohull sailor that tells you otherwise is full of... Yeah.
What you call it?
Yeah. So, I mean, anybody that tells you, complains about catamarans not being able to sail upwind, and that's why they're a monohull sailor, they're full of shit because nobody likes to sail upwind anyways. But every other point of sail, they're actually far quicker. You got more waterline, less wetted area, more sail area. I mean, it's a far better sailing boat than a monohull.
What's the drawback of a cat?
There is none. No.
What about dock space?
I was going to say dockage. Dockage is the issue. In Florida, the Caribbean, it's not as big of a concern. But I live in Annapolis right now, getting ready to move back down here to Fort Lauderdale. But in Annapolis, it's not set up for catamarans, so hauling out is a challenge up there. There's only one boat yard that can really haul out catamarans. Dockage is a bit of a challenge, but it's not. It's not like I would say that's probably the biggest downside.
What about draft? Are you much less?
Draft, you're much better. I mean, your average mid 40-foot catamaran usually draws less than 4.5 feet. And they're designed to draw less draft. So unlike a monohull where you have to settle on a shoal draft keel if you want to have a shallower draft, catamaran is designed to be shoal draft from the get-go. You don't need a 7.5, 8-foot draft like some of these monohulls need to actually be able to sail proper.
You're saying a lot of words in terms I've never been familiar with, so just give me your top 5. So is it Iron Jenny is the motor?
Oh man, yeah, Iron Jenny. What else did I make up?
Let's do this little thing. So, catamaran speed, tip 1. Iron Jenny.
Iron Jenny.
Is...
Oh, that's your motor.
The motor.
Yeah, the motor.
2.
I don't know what 2 was.
We're going to have to rehearse.
Yeah, no, I know. We got to work on this, man. I didn't realize I came up with that many unique things.
You do, but were you saying a shore base?
Oh, shoal draft.
Shore draft.
Shoal draft. That's pretty common, shoal draft.
I'm not familiar with that. Is that
Really?
Is that where you bring the keel up?
No. Shoal draft is just a shallower keel. So like any of these Benetos here, you can get it with like the shallow draft, which is also like known as shoal draft, or a deep draft. The keel.
Bullet thing.
Yeah. They either put a longer one or they put a shorter one. No, that's a lifting keel or centerboard.
There's number 3, lifting keel. This is for an audience who hasn't got a clue what we're talking about.
That's scary because I don't really have a clue what I'm talking about either. But no, I just.
This is why you specialize.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not that bright. I can only do one thing, you know. So catamarans, I mean, from a draft standpoint, are very good. I mean, with a catamaran, I've got a number of clients that have, cats in the 60, 70 foot range, and those boats draw, less than 6 feet or around that. And if you went with a comparable size monohull, you'd be dealing with a 9-foot draft. Or if you went with a motor yacht, you're still looking at a 7, 8-foot draft for a similar sized boat, because a 60, 70-foot catamaran has the same volume capacity of a 90-foot monohull or motor yacht. So.
Good Lord. So this is something you've done all your life, sailing?
Yeah. So I started sailing when I was, very young.
See your hands. Oh yeah, that's a man's hand.
Well, I'm a yacht broker. There shouldn't be two, man. No.
Look at that. No, you got calluses and the film. Mine are like.
I know you kind of you need to get out sailing more, pull some lines.
Moisturize too often.
Maybe I don't moisturize enough. I don't know. But all joking aside, though, with electric winches, like, you shouldn't even have callous hands on a sailboat anymore. Anytime I get on a boat where I've got to actually crank a winch, I get so freaking annoyed with it. I'm just like, are you serious? You ordered a boat without electric winches? Like, what?
Isn't that part of the charm? Going back to the old days.
Sure, why not?
Sure. Good Lord. So this is now your thing.
Yeah, so catamarans, they've been my thing. Mostly, at Denison, we've repped some catamaran lines over the years. We're just picking up Group Beneto's new range, which is XS catamaran. So I'm going to go kind of back from.
How do you spell that? XS.
No, it's EXCESSS. But the logo is just XCS. Which I like the logo better than the
Mexican guy. He had it on his shirt.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they must be the deal. I didn't know they had a dealer in Mexico. If you're in Mexico watching this and you want to buy a catamaran, you definitely should call me and not the guy from not that guy. Yeah, whoever he is. Forget about him. But no, yeah. So we're excited because we're getting into the new boat range and or getting back into new catamaran sales, which is pretty cool. And there's been this trend over the last 15 years where 15 years ago sailing catamarans were geared more towards the sailor, and over the last 15 years, as they've grown in popularity, they've kind of moved away from sailing and become what we call condo catamarans or catamaran condos, where they don't sail for shit, but they've got just incredible living spaces. And XS Catamarans has kind of looked at that and realized that there are a lot of people out there that want to actually be able to sail. And so the idea with this new range is to create a good compromise between a comfortable catamaran to live aboard, but something that will actually sail well too. Because right now, in the current marketplace, it's either performance, which means you have a wet head, so you're showering over the shitter, or like a condo catamaran, where you're not going to be able to sail more than 8, 9 knots. And so XS is kind of trying to bridge that gap a bit. So it'll be really, really cool. Condo catamarans. That could be number 3.
I think we're at 5 actually.
5 now.
You don't realise you're saying these things.
But
Condo cat.
yeah. So we're excited. I'm very excited. That was the meeting we were having when you all got here, and we'll have the first boats in the water at the Cannes Yachting Festival in September. Then I'll probably get in trouble for saying this because I don't know if it's actually going to happen or not. But perfect. Especially all my ramblings and nonsense. But we may have boats at the Annapolis Boat Show. We may have a boat at the Annapolis Boat Show, and then we'll definitely have 2 boats at the Miami Boat Show next year, which means everybody will have to suffer through the shitty traffic and parking situation here too.
It's bad, but it's not terrible.
Once you're here, you're here. I was gonna do a video like I normally do for the boat shows, kind of the insider guide. And I usually do one of those before every boat show. And for this boat show, I was gonna do one where my #1 tip, if you're coming to the Miami, if you're interested or thinking about coming to the Miami Boat Show, is like, do not come here unless you're actually coming here to buy a boat, because the traffic is so fucking horrible now. Like, you're better off just avoiding it, you know. But
what's your channel?
So it's just my name, Wiley Sharp Catamaran Expert. I tried to come up with a creative name, but for whatever reason, YouTube wouldn't let me change the channel name or something. So it's just Wiley Sharp Catamaran Expert.
Sorry to interrupt.
At the end of the interview, he proves he really does know what he's doing.
I don't know about that.
I'm looking forward to the history of catamarans.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to making that video. I got to get on Wikipedia now, man. So,
thank you, sir.
Cool.